Hi guys and girls, I'm Obsidian Ant and welcome to 3302. This is where I take a look at the news and happenings in and around Elite Dangerous. Today we're going to look at the new upcoming mission board changes. We're also going to have a look at the Rise to Power, the first player run faction to become a power. There's some changes to Missiles and Torpedoes coming, along with ice mining and traffic control, and some modified weapons. Frontier continue to release a whole bunch of quality information for the upcoming patch, the engineers, as well as patch 1.6. Now everything that I mentioned in this video that's specifically rated to patch 1.6 should also be made available in the Xbox One release of the game. First up then are the changes to the mission bulletin board. Now you can see right here just how extensive those changes are. The bulletin board has undergone a complete revamp, and we've got the characters here, the mission givers, that we can see as well. And yes, they've got hair. So all stations that have a mission board will have any number of these characters available on them, and they will all be different, they're all persistent, and they're all unique. Many of them of course are procedurally generated. In fact, the only ones that are custom made as far as we know at the moment are the engineers, and there's going to be 30 of them. But here, mission givers, there's going to be hundreds of them, probably many thousands of them dotted around inhabited space, and we will be able to build up reputation with any of them that we choose to. Our reputation with any specific superpower will also come into play here and will dramatically affect our relationship with any specific mission giver. For example, if we're friendly or allied with the Federation and then do a mission for a faction that's related to the Federation, then our reputation should increase a lot faster with that specific faction, as opposed to if we're just neutral with the Federation, then in that case the reputation with the faction would increase a lot slower. Completing missions will increase our reputation, and of course failing them will decrease our reputation. So it does look like it's of course going to be a bit of a grind, but at this point that's something we pretty much expect with Elite Dangerous, and I've come to accept it that that's a part of the game. But that said, do keep the following in mind. This point, as well as the mission rewards, has been raised with Frontier, and Michael Brooks, the executive producer for the game, has stated that the mission system is an ongoing process and will continue to evolve over the entire lifetime of the game. And meanwhile, Eddie Simons has said that we shouldn't take these rewards for these missions at face value because they're likely to change. They're not reflective of how it's going to be in the final game. These screenshots were taken from a dev build after all. So as we continue to rise our reputation with the faction that we're doing missions for, we will get ever better missions and ever increasing rewards. And at some point it's likely that we'd get introduced to higher level mission givers. Now, in addition to giving us a better drill down on the requirements for a mission, the mission board will also tell us what effects and what impact the missions are going to have on the galaxy overall. This is something that's largely missing at the moment, but once it's introduced, it will give us a better information of how to affect the background simulation. There's also a small note on community goals. They'll be changing somewhat. I think Frontier might be releasing more information on that later on. I don't know yet, but that's the impression I do get. But in particular, they mentioned that it's now going to be possible to specify lists of items for community goals. I'm not sure how that differs to how things are currently, but it would seem that the idea is that community goals will be able to get much more specific. We've already heard that weapons are going to undergo a massive change during the next patch. In particular, this is going to extend to visuals for all weapons. And these visuals will now reflect their damage type as well as the damage level. But in addition to that, both the missiles and torpedoes are going to undergo a massive revamp. Some of these changes are that guided missiles are going to get a much better guidance system, and they will be able to deliver an improved payload. I think that will extend to all missiles as well. But not only that, how missiles have an effect within the game is also going to change. For example, skimmers are going to have a much greater resistance to splash damage. At the moment, if you fire a missile right into a group of drones on the ground, chances are that you'll be able to destroy all of them with a single shot. So it seems that that is no longer going to be possible. So this will affect how we're going to be able to assault bases. Bases, of course, some of them at least, are also going to have point defense systems, giving them much better defenses against missiles and torpedoes. All area effect damage from missiles and torpedoes and weapons like that are now going to be able to damage external modules such as engines, cockpits, weapons and utility mounts, and apparently that's different to how it works at the moment, so the chances are that missiles are going to be a lot more effective. The thing is going to be able to get them to be balanced so that they're not overpowered like that they once were, but at the moment they've been nerfed so badly that they're pretty much useless for anything other than base assaults. So I completely welcome these changes to missiles, along with the changes to torpedoes, which are going to be much more effective apparently against larger ships. It would seem that ring systems are going to become ever more important within the game. Currently, places like ice fields are no use within the game other than being very nice visually, or at least they were before the graphical downgrades. They're now going to be places where we can ice mine. Combine this with the graphical overhauls and improvements that are coming to asteroid fields of all types, and suddenly asteroid fields are going to be very much worth visiting. Ice mining in particular is going to allow us to mine for new materials such as methanol monohydrate crystals, as well as low temperature diamonds. Hopefully some of these are going to be extremely valuable. And beyond their trading benefits, these materials, some of them at least, are going to be required for engineers so that they can modify our weapons and our modules. So as you can see, an image did come with this news of ice mining, but what it didn't show us was much in the way of the graphical improvements to the asteroid fields themselves, and I'm pretty sure Frontier were very careful to do a close crop of these particular images, so they didn't reveal too much details of that. But if you look very closely, it would seem that you can see some of those changes. For example, if you look at the rocks in the distance, it would appear that the colour mismatch has now gone. As well as this, you can see shadows on these asteroids. These seem to be being cast from the asteroids that are right nearby. But hopefully we'll get some nice detailed screenshots of the new asteroid fields very, very soon. Now, we've spoken previously about how there seems to be plenty of changes within the game in the next patch that's going to bring some more life to the game. Currently, many of the locations within the game seem a bit lifeless and a bit flat, and something that's going to really address this is the new traffic control system that's coming. You can see a very quick snippet of that here, and I'll be quiet for a moment so you can hear just what it's like. But if you want to watch the full thing at the end of this video, then you can click on the link below and it will take you straight to Frontier's video of that.
Welcome. You have entered Imperial Sovereign Territory. Please approach at a safe speed and comply with station regulations. Permission granted. Land on designated pad number 22.
So for me, this makes a massive change to the game, and it will bring it very much more to life. Frontier continue to tease us with new images and information for the modified weapons that are going to be coming in the next patch, the ones that the engineers are going to be able to change for us. Now, we also know that modules are going to be able to be modified, but we still haven't seen anything on that just yet, and Frontier continue to release information on weapons. We've currently got 2 more additions to that. We've got the incendiary rounds and another one called a feedback cascade. So the incendiary rounds is a system capable of delivering superheated rounds, and a proportion of the kinetic damage dealt from them is converted into thermal damage. So it certainly looks like the game is going to be expanding quite substantially when it comes to the types of damage that we're able to deal to other ships. The other weapon mod then, Feedback Cascade, has turned out to be a fairly controversial weapon, and that's totally understandable. In this case, it's designed to interfere with shield cell operation. If you can use the weapon and strike a vessel that's in the process of deploying a shield cell, then this will instantly break that ship's shield. Many people have cited this as being overpowered, and Frontier have responded to that. They've said that during the beta process they'll be looking closely at this and will balance accordingly. They've also mentioned that the breaking of the shield is just one of the proposed effects they've got. They do have some alternatives to its operation lined up and will put them in place if necessary. But clearly there's a lot of weapon modifications coming out, and I'm still awaiting for the one that's going to totally disable our ship's operation, that you'll be fired upon and it will disable your ship's FSD or the thrusters or something like that, otherwise rendering your ship immobile. Now, there's no confirmation of such a weapon like that, it's merely supposition on my part, but it does seem to be the way the game's headed in, and I've mentioned a specific change like that 3 times now. It's something that personally I wouldn't really be too keen on seeing. I've never liked locks or stun locks in other games, but who knows, it could turn out quite good in this. But either way, it certainly seems that all these proposed weapon changes, of which there's going to be many variants, is going to really open the game wide up. And hopefully it will be balanced in such a way that we will see many types of ship builds as opposed to just 1 or 2 builds of the best and most powerful. One of the things I really did like to see was the images of the engineers base. Now, there was 4 in all, and it would seem then that there's going to be quite a variety in engineers base, all of them looking quite different to each other. In fact, some of these designs we haven't seen anywhere else in the game at all yet. And with there being at least 30 engineers, hopefully that means there's going to be a nice variety of different locations to visit. If you look at the surface in these images, you can see the new surface materials that have been introduced, and in fact the graphics do look substantially better down there on the surfaces now. It might just be me, but the sun in one of these images does look quite different to how they're rendered currently within the game, and I've actually mentioned that on the forums and quite a few other people have agreed with that as well. So let me know your thoughts on that. Does the sun in this image here look different to how they currently are or not? And another nice new thing we get to see is one of the hangars. These look a lot different to our current hangars. So yeah, a lot of variation coming up, a lot of nice new locations, and something that the game is very much in need of. In fact, my opinion here is that this could be some of the groundwork towards getting some new station types at somewhere in the not too distant future. For an example of this, if we look at the hangar, we can see all the rock in the background there, and I appreciate that this hangar is actually in a rocky area, but a hangar like this could also be used in an asteroid base as well, couldn't it? And the structures on the outside could also form a part of new city types, as well as maybe new outposts. After all, a while ago David Braben did confirm that they're going to be implementing larger cities within this season. On Thursday the 28th of April, Frontier are doing another live stream for the engineers where they're going to be talking about the information that was revealed in this week's newsletter, as well as showing us some new images and footage and discussing some of the details therein. Ed Lewis will be on with Adam Burke-Waite, one of the designers for Elite Dangerous, and one of the other things they will be discussing is the structures for the upcoming mission changes. So if you're interested in watching that, you can see the details in the video description below. Nearly 2 weeks ago now, Frontier announced the Dangerous game's Rise to Power, where the opportunity for a player-run faction to become a power is going to become a reality, and the Border Coalition have put forth their submission for power status.
The border worlds will surprise you. I didn't grow up on the outer colonies, but while I served as an Imperial soldier in my youth, I quickly learned the true grit and tenacity it takes to make a hostile environment your home. That's where true bonds are forged. Neighbors understand the meaning of friendship and trust when they depend on each other to survive. A passion for discovery and the desire to improve our surroundings are inseparable from human nature, and were once championed by the Great Federation and Empire.
To see the rest of this exceptional video, do check out DXOL's YouTube channel, I've linked that below. It really is a good video put together by DXOL himself and voiced by the very talented Commander Arthur Locke. If you're interested in learning more about this faction, check out the rest of the video and then head on over to the forums where you can see the introduction from the Border Coalition themselves, a group that wants to champion many of the independent playstyles currently found within the game. So if this at all sounds interesting to you, or indeed sounds like the type of group you'd like to support to become a power, do check out all those details. Here's a reminder of the first great expedition, a journey across the Carina Sagittarius arm of the galaxy for the Galactic Mapping Project. There's some details in the video description, and it's a project that's well worthwhile. There's a good number of people involved now, and we can join in on that on any point along the journey at any time we desire. And I will be heading along that way pretty soon myself. That then brings us to the end of another episode of 3302. There's bound to be plenty more Elite Dangerous related news coming along, and I'll be featuring that without any doubt. As always then, thanks for watching, and I'll catch you guys and girls next time. Hi guys and girls, I'm Obsidian Ant and welcome back to Elite Dangerous. This is a new episode of my old series Imperial Runner, and as you can see I'm heading back to my Imperial Clipper. It's an old favourite of mine, and as I've been travelling around the galaxy for a long time, I've been in my ASP for a long while now and not had a chance to get into this ship. Unfortunately, it's not all that close by, and I'm stuck here in my Vulture, so I'm going to need to go pick up my ASP before heading out to go and collect my Imperial Clipper.